See, today is the first configuration class. So I have sent you the material basic settings, PPT, and everybody should have received this material. So in this material, I told you to take the printout of this second file. Now, if you see the first configuration setting, step number 1.1, creation of company. So first, let us try to understand what is the meaning of the company. Here, there is one concept which is called enterprise structure. This enterprise structure is also called organization structure. You take any company in the real time, we have some branches, and we have some manufacturing plants, and we have some departments. So these are called organization units in the company. And one organization unit is linked with the other organization unit in some way or the other way. This relation is called enterprise structure. So as a starting point, every functional consultant has to map the enterprise structure into SAP system. This enterprise structure is different for every module. Means FI component will have its own enterprise structure. CO component will have its own enterprise structure. MM will have its own enterprise structure. SD will have its own enterprise structure. Like that, every module will have its own enterprise structure. In the real time, this enterprise structure for each module is mapped by respect to functional consultants. Here, our module is FICO. In FICO, first we start with FI. Then once FI is over, we start controlling. So the main purpose of finance, FI means financial accounting, right? So the main purpose of this financial accounting component is to prepare the financial statements according to the legal requirements of the country in which we are doing business. So that is the main purpose of financial accounting. So from the viewpoint of preparing the financial statements, you take any company. You take any company. Remember, for the purpose of preparing financial statements, if you take any company, at the top we have the group. Group means it will have some number of individual companies. Individual company 1 and individual company 2. Like that, a group can have any number of individual companies. Then every individual company may be carrying on business in different geographical areas. For example, individual company 1 is carrying on business in Washington. Individual company 1 again is carrying on business in California. Similarly, individual company 2 is also carrying on business in Washington, California, New York, New Jersey, etc., etc. So this is the general enterprise structure for any company for the purpose of preparing financial statements. If you translate this into real time, let us say group means GE group. Means here we are going to configure the SAP software for GE group of companies. So group means, let us assume GE group. Under the GE group, we have many individual companies like GE Infotech Incorporation and GE Paper Mills Incorporation, like that. Then GE Infotech Incorporation is carrying on business in Washington, California. GE Paper Mills Limited is also carrying on business in Washington, California, New York, New Jersey, etc., etc. So this is the real enterprise structure for the GE group of companies for the purpose of preparing financial statements. Now, if you translate this enterprise structure into SAP, if you map this enterprise structure into SAP, in SAP, group is always called company. Then these individual companies, they are called company codes. Then the geographical areas in which the individual company codes are carrying on business are called business areas. So as a starting point of the configuration, every FI consultant has to create a company, company code and business areas. So this company, company code and business areas, they are called organizational units in financial accounting. So what is the purpose of the company? Here Company means group. So at the group level, we can prepare the consolidated financial statements. Let us talk about in SAP terminology only, right? Company. At the company level, we can create or we can prepare the consolidated financial statements. That is the purpose of the company. But the creation of company is only optional. Why so? Here in SAP, if any reporting is legally required, that reporting is mandatory. But if any reporting is required according to will and wish of the management, then that is called optional. Generally, in any country, there is no legal requirement that to prepare and present the financial statements at the company level, that is at the group level. But if the group management wants to know the consolidated financial results, then only we have to prepare the consolidated P&L account and the consolidated balance sheet. These are called consolidated financial statements. Then only we have to create the company. That's why the creation of company is purely optional. And at the time of creating every object, we have to give one identification in the system, in the software. So the company identification can have up to 6 characters, and that is alphanumeric, right? See, this is the meaning of the company. So this explanation I have documented in your notes. Company represents the group. It contains up to 6 characters. It is alphanumeric. The definition of company is optional. A company can have any number of company codes. Company code means individual companies. Company means group. So obviously a group can have any number of individual companies. Means in SAP terminology, a company can have any number of company codes. So that is the meaning of the company. That is the first step in your material. Step number 1.1, creation of company. Now, in order to create the company, we have to access one screen. So for that screen, I have given the path as well as transaction code. See, in your practice, wherever it is possible, follow the path. Right? That is always better option in the practice. And at the end of the class today, I will also tell you how to do the practice. There is a best way to do the practice. What is that best way? I will tell you. Now, in order to access the screen where we create the company, this is the path. Here, in our training class, we are going to cover both the consultant settings and also end user activities. So in that case, how can you know which activity we are going to perform as a consultant and which activity we are performing as end user? I will tell you one rule. For any activity, if the path starts with SPRO, then you can take it granted 100% that that is the job of the consultant. Because SPRO is the transaction code for IMG screen. And yesterday I told you the IMG screen is completely used by the consultant. That's why for any activity, if the path starts with SPRO, that is the job of the consultant. If the path starts with something else, that is the job of the end user. Okay. First, we have to log into the SAP system. Double click on SAP logon icon. Select the server. Click on logon button. Today, after the class, I will send you the user IDs and passwords. Okay. Now, see, first SPRO. We have to enter the transaction code in the command area of SAP Easy Access. So we are in SAP Easy Access only. And this is the command area. So here, you just enter SPRO. Then click on enter. And SPRO always implies clicking on SAP reference IMG also. This is the SAP reference IMG. Then after SPRO, please look at the material also. Enterprise structure. This is the enterprise structure folder. We just click on this enterprise structure folder. Then After enterprise structure, we have definition, right? So this is the definition folder. Click on this. After definition, we have financial accounting. So click on financial accounting. Then after financial accounting, we have defined company. This is defined company. So here, beside defined company, you are seeing one clock-like symbol, right? This clock-like symbol is called execute symbol. So whenever you see the execute symbol, you have to click on that. After that, there is no path. Now, these are the companies that have been already created in the system because there are number of students who are doing the practice in the same server. So these are created by other students. Now, after that, see the material, click on new entries. This is the new entries button. Click on new entries. Now, in order to create the company, we have to give some information in each of these fields. These fields I have given in your material, right? So against each field, there is one is equal to mark. So against this is equal to mark, you have to write. For the company, we have to give an identification, right? Let us say 3699 GE. You can give anything. I told you it is up to 6 characters and it is alphanumeric. Just like that, I am using 3699 GE. So against a company, you have to write like this. Company is equal to 3699 GE. So like that, against every field, you have to write. Company is equal to 3699 GE. Company name is equal to GE group of companies. Again, you have to write again the material. Company name is equal to GE group of companies. Then city is equal to Washington. City is equal to Washington. Means the group headquarters are situated in Washington. Country is equal to US. Means please write down against the is equal to marks, against the respective fields. Country is equal to US I have given here. Means the GE group of companies is basically operating from US. If the group is basically operating from India, we have to give the identification IN for India. If the group is operating from UK, we have to give the identification UK. If the group is basically operating from Australia, we have to give the identification for Australia. So here we have to give the identification for the country from which the group is basically operating. If it is India, IN. If it is UK, UK. If it is US, US. We can easily understand these 3 countries. But the group is basically operating from Switzerland. If the group is operating from China, from Canada, in that case, how can we find the identifications for the respective countries? Look at the screen, everybody. Against this field, we have one symbol, button type. This thing is there, right? You just click on this. Then the system will display the list of countries. Already 237 countries have been defined in the system. Remember, it's not necessary to remember these identifications again. So from the list, we can select the identification for the respective country. See for Australia, AU. If the group is basically operating from Bangladesh, you have to enter BD. Canada, CA. Switzerland, CH. Then China, CN. Germany, DE. Denmark, DK. Like that, most of the major countries have been already defined in the system. So by pressing F4, right, and you see US. United States, right? Great Britain, I think GB. Great Britain, GB. So like that, you can find the identification by pressing on this button. We can press this button, otherwise we can press F4 function key. Right? Suppose you don't find the country you require in the list. In that case, we can define our own countries. But how to define our own countries, we will discuss after some classes. That is also covered in our classes. So country is equal to US, I am giving just like that. Country is equal to US. Language is equal to EN. EN for English. Suppose you are configuring for a group from Japan, right? And the Japanese company, they want to use only their Japanese language. In that case, we have to give the identification for Japanese language. Again, to find the identification for the Japanese language, click on this button. Yesterday I told you, SAP software was developed in 41 international languages. These are the 41 languages, right? For example, JA for Japanese, IT for Italian, FR for French. Generally, we use English, right? So, EN for English. Remember, we cannot define our own languages. Okay? We can define the countries, but not languages. Then currency, USD. We have to enter the currency of the respective countries from which the group is basically operating. Like that, we have to give the identifications in the respective fields. Here, you can enter the street number in which, street number and name, both we can enter here, in which the group headquarters office is situated. We can give the post box number, postal code, all this information we can enter in the real time. So after entering all this information, and one more thing, if you press on F4, you can see the currencies of the respective countries. Suppose if the group is basically operating from Great Britain, we enter the country GB, right? Then Great Britain pound is the identification, right? Currency. See, GBP will be there. Suppose if you don't find the currency you require, again, we can define our own currencies. So how to define our own currencies and countries? I will tell you after some classes. Here you write one point in the material. You have some space here, no? Right? You please write down there. We can define our own countries. We can define our own countries and currencies. But not languages. But not languages. Now, after the currency, if you see the material, click on Save. This is called Save button. Control+S. You can use operating system commands also. Shortcuts. Click on Save. Now, this is called request box. This request box has got lot of importance in the real time for the basis consultants also. So what is the importance of this request box? Again, I will discuss after some classes. Okay. Now, after click on Save, if you see the material, click on Create Request. So where is the Create Request icon? This is the first time you are using the software, right? So you don't know where is the Create Request icon. That's why for 1 or 2 times at the time of doing the practice, if you don't know the icons, just to keep the cursor on every icon you see for 1 or 2 seconds. Then the system will display the name of that icon. This is continue icon. This is display object icon. This is object attributes icon. This is create request. You have to click on this. That's how for the first time you can find the identifications, right? Then short description is equal to FI configuration for GE group of companies. Please write down in the material. Short description is equal to FI configuration for GE group of companies. After that, click on save. Again, this is called the save button. Same save button. Now your description has been taken over here. So from now onwards, whenever you get this request box, just click on enter. Right? You can use the enter button in your keyboard, or this is the enter button. See, data was saved. This is called OK message. Yesterday I told you, no, the OK message is displayed in green color. Okay, this is how we can create the company. After that, define company code. So first let us try to understand what is the meaning of the company code. Company code represents a separate legal entity. Means, suppose for example, if you take US context, every incorporation is created as one company code. Every LLC, limited liability company, is created as one company code. If you take Indian context, every public limited company is created as one company code. Every private limited company is created as one company code. If you take UK context, right, every limited is created as one company code, and every OPC, one person company, also can be created as company code. So here, every separate legal entity should be created as company code in SAP. And the creation of company code is mandatory because it is legally required to prepare and present the financial statements at the company code level only. That's why without company code, you cannot configure anything. So here, a group means a company can have any number of company codes. So every limited company should be created as company code. And if the boundaries of any particular country are crossed, again, we have to create one company code. Means, for example, GE Infotech Incorporation is basically registered under the US Companies Act. So it is US legal entity. Then we create one company code for GE Infotech Incorporation. Then this GE Infotech Incorporation wants to carry on business in India. For that purpose, this GE Infotech Incorporation has to get itself registered under the Indian Companies Act. As a result, it becomes a separate legal entity. Separate legal entity means company code. Similarly, this GE Infotech Incorporation wants to carry on business in UK also. So if I want to carry on business in UK, I cannot just like that come to UK. I cannot just like that take the premises on rent, and I cannot just like that start the business. First, I have to comply with the legal formalities that are set out by UK government. Means I have to get myself registered under the UK Companies Act. As a result, it becomes a separate legal entity. Means again a company code. Like that, if the boundaries of any particular country are crossed, then we have to create the company code. That is the meaning of the company code. Again, for the company code, we have to give an identification. The company code identification can have up to 4 characters, and again, it is alphanumeric. Generally in SAP, right, every object identification can contain up to 4 characters. That's why from now onwards, I don't repeat these 2 sentences. How many characters can be there in an identification? That is also irrelevant from the interview point of view, right? But generally, every object identification can contain up to 4 characters, and it is alphanumeric. See here, again this explanation was documented in your notes. Company code. It is the organizational unit in financial accounting for which a complete set of books of accounts are maintained for external legal reporting. External legal reporting means what? Legal reporting means preparation of financial statements according to legal requirements. And these financial statements are to be submitted to different legal agencies like let us say stock exchange boards. We have to submit the financial statements to the stock exchange boards, then company law board, then banks. If you have taken any working capital loans and the term loans, we have to submit these financial statements to the banks, your tax authorities, central tax authorities and state tax authorities. So to many legal external agencies, we have to submit these financial statements. So for the purpose of preparing the financial statements, we have to maintain some set of books. And these set of books are maintained with reference to one entity. That entity is called company code. In the simple words, for the understanding purpose, every separate legal entity should be created as company code in SAP. It is 4 characters ID and it is alphanumeric. So that is the meaning of the company code. Now see the material. Define company code. Again, in order to define the company code, we have to access one screen. For that screen, I have given the path. And this path is also starting with the SPRO. So it is also the job of the consultant. So SPRO is the transaction code for IMG screen, right? And the transaction code is always to be entered in the command area of SAP Easy Access. Is this SAP Easy Access? No. That's why you have to enter /n SPRO. So you need not think this much logic every time, right? Just for every transaction code, prefix /n. For every transaction code, you enter /n. That's it. Then you have to click on SAP reference IMG. After that, enterprise structure. After that, we have definition. Then financial accounting. Then edit, copy, delete, check company code. Edit, copy, delete, check company code. Then double click on edit company code data. This is the company code data. Here you can create the company code by copying from another company code which was already defined in the system. But when you copy the company code, lot of parameters are copied. But at this point of time, don't create the company code by copy, right? Let us create the new company code afresh. So double click on edit company code data. Click on new entries. Company code is equal to 3699. You can use alphanumeric, right? Just like that I'm using numbers. Company code is equal to 3699. Please write in the material. Company code is equal to 3699. Company name is equal to GE Power Incorporation. GE Power Incorporation. City is equal to Washington. City is equal to Washington. Means it is the city in which the registered office of the company code is situated. Country is equal to US. If you want to give the country India, IN. If you want to give the country Great Britain, GB. And look at the screen. in the currency field, right, there is one tick mark. So whenever you see any tick mark in any field, that field is mandatory field. That field is called mandatory field. Means compulsory we have to enter the information there. So currency is equal to USD. Currency is equal to USD. Language is equal to EM. Language is equal to EM. After that, see the material. Click on save. This is called save button. Now, in this screen, when you click on save button, you will be presented with a big screen, right? After clicking on save, title is equal to company. Title is equal to company. Country is equal to US. Country is equal to US. Then, what about the other fields, right? Just listen to the explanation, because anyhow I am going to send you the recording, no? So you need not write anything. See, name. We can enter the total name of the company code. Sometimes what happens is, the name of the company code which was entered in the previous screen, right, may be larger than the length of this field. In that case, you can enter the total company code name here. If the name of the company code is more larger than the length of these two fields, then this is called more fields button. So you can click on this more fields button, then the system will add two more fields. Then you can enter the total name of the company code. Generally, no company code will have the name bigger than the length of these 4 columns. Then here you can enter the address of the registered office of the company code, street name, house number, postal code, city. Suppose if the address is more larger, then again click on more fields button. So you can enter the total information here, the total address here. So once you enter the address, you can close this section by clicking on enter more fields. And here you can enter PO box number, postal code, company postal code, etc., etc. Then here you can enter the communication information of your company code, telephone number, extension, mobile number, fax number, extension, email address, etc., etc. So who will give you all this information? The accounts department of the company code will provide you all this information. So in our class, we don't have all this information. That's why I have entered only country, nothing else. So here, whatever the information you enter in this screen is printed by the system on the correspondence documents of your company code. Correspondence documents means all your official documents, like your letterheads, then purchase orders. Then you send the account statements to your suppliers, and also you send the account statements to customers. So on all the official documents of the company code, this address will be printed, this information will be printed. Suppose, for example, I am your vendor, right? So you wanted to purchase some material from me, so you have given me the purchase order. So on that purchase order, this information is printed, because I want to contact you. In that case, I should have the contact information, right? That's why whatever the information you give in this big screen is printed by the system on the official documents of the company code. So after entering all this information, see the material, click on enter, this one. So when you get this request box, just click on enter. See, we have created company code. Now here, at the time of creating company code, we have given the country US, currency USD, language English. So what is the purpose of these 3 fields here? I have given in your notes. Country. For the company code, we have given the country, right? So the information given in this field is called home country of the company code. and every other country is considered by the system as foreign country. Here, the home country of our company code is US. Every other country is considered by the system as foreign country. And the financial statements are to be prepared according to the legal requirements of the home country of the company code. Means, in our case, we have to prepare the financial statements according to the legal requirements of Companies Act of US. That is the impact of country. Then currency, whatever the currency you enter in this field is called company code local currency. This you have to remember, very important, right? Company code local currency means the currency entered at the time of creating the company code. That is called company code local currency. Every other currency is treated by the system as foreign currency. This information is used by the system in identifying the foreign currency. The financial statements are prepared in the company code local currency only. Suppose if you are doing business in India, you have to prepare the financial statements in Indian rupees. If you are doing business in US, you have to prepare the financial statements in US dollars. If you are doing business in UK, you have to prepare the financial statements in the pounds. Logically, right? That is the meaning of currency there. Then we have entered language English. See, language. The language entered in this field determines the language in which the books of accounts are maintained, the checks means bank checks. The bank checks and the correspondence documents are printed. See, our books of accounts are maintained in English language, our bank checks are printed in English language, and other correspondence documents like letterheads, purchase orders, right, reminders to the customers regarding their dues, all these things are printed in the English language. That is the impact of these three fields. Here I told you, a company can have any number of company codes, right? Suppose if you want to create another company code, follow the same path, right? Follow the same path, slash and SPRO, enterprise structure definition, etc., etc. Otherwise, this is called next entry. If you click on next entry button, the system will empty all the fields. Then you give another identification. Remember, for every company code, we have to use a separate identification. That's how you can go on creating any number of company codes. After creating second company code, again click on next entry button. Create the third company code. Again click on next entry button. Create the fourth company code. Like that, we can create any number of company codes. Okay. Then here you know that GE Power Incorporation is part of GE Group. As a human being, we know. But how the system understands? Because we have created a company in a separate screen and we have created a company code in a separate screen. Then how the system understands that 3699 company code is part of GE Group? For that, we have to provide the link between these two objects. Providing links between two objects is called assignment in SAP, right? Of course, not only in SAP, in the software terminology. Put heading in the notes. Assignment. Assignment. Providing the links between two objects in the software is called assignment. One second. Providing the links between two objects in the software is called assignment. That is the next step. Step number 1.3, assign company code to company. Path /and SPRO. Enterprise structure. Then assignment. Then financial accounting. Then assign company code to company. So here, see the material please. Click on position. Click on position. This is called position button. Company code is equal to, our company code is 3699. Company code is equal to 3699. This is what we have created, right? Company code is equal to 3699. Click on enter. See, our company code has been taken in the first line, right? Against this, company is there, right? Company is equal to 3699 GE. This is what we have created, right? Then click on save. This is the save button. So whenever you get this request box, just click on enter. Here I told you, a company can have any number of company codes, right? Means, suppose under your GE group, we have 5 company codes. Okay, let us say 3 company codes, right? Then all the 3 company codes are to be assigned to the same company 3699 GE. In that case, how to do that? Suppose, for example, 4300 is also our company code. Let us assume, right? So against this company code also, you enter 3699 GE. Suppose 4400 is also our company code. Then against this also, you enter 3699 GE. Like that, we can assign any number of company codes to one company, right? But don't do this in your practice. You assign the company code. You assign only your company codes to your company. Don't assign your company to the other students' company codes, right? Click on save. So today we have created company code, and we have assigned the company code to company. Now today after the class, right, I will send you the server access details. Okay. Then you can start to practice. For doing the practice, I will tell you one best way. What you have to do is, you create 2 companies and you create 2 company codes. You can create the companies and company codes with any identification, with your own name also, right? So you create 2 companies and 2 company codes. Then you assign the first company code to the first company, second company code to the second company. Okay. Then every week class settings you do in both the company codes. See, at the time of doing the settings in the first company code, you will be getting some varying feeling, like what? Whether I am doing correctly or not, or whether I will get the output or not. This type of feelings will be there in your mind because this is the first time you are using the software, right? But follow the material clearly, step by step, right? Don't be in a hurry. Be cool, right? And follow the step one by one very slowly. Definitely you get the output. So once you get the output, you feel confident, right? Then you create another company code. But before creating another second company code, study the notes. Try to understand the meaning of the company code. Why you are creating company code? And we are giving some information in the company code creation screen. What is the purpose of that information? study the notes, then you create the company code, second company code. If you follow like this, you get a very good understanding of the subject. In SAP, how is not important. Means how to create a company code is not important. Why you have to create a company code? That is important from the interview point of view. That's how you can broaden the knowledge. And at the time of doing the practice, you may be getting some doubts, right? Then immediately write the doubts in a separate book. Otherwise, you can mail them immediately. Otherwise, write them in a separate book and ask them in the next week class. Whichever way you feel convenient, you can follow to clear your doubts. And while doing the practice, right, if you get any errors, immediately you can mail me. I hope everybody has my mail ID, right? Because to all of you have sent my material, right? So to the same mail ID, you can send the mails and immediately within 1 hour maximum, I will send the solution to your errors. See, attending the classes and doing the practice, these two requirements are must, right? Try to attend the class, live classes. Even though if you miss a class, I will send the recording, right? It's not an issue. But listening to the live class is very effective. Okay? Of course, everybody will have some work and everybody will have some situations which are unavoidable, right? In that case, we have to miss the class. We cannot help it. But try not to miss any classes, right? Try not to miss any class because listening to the live class is very effective, right? So here you have to start the practice. Okay. So if I complete more settings, you will feel a little bit difficult. That's why for this week I'm stopping the session with these 3 steps, right? So from next week onwards, we take 2.5 hours totally, exactly 2.5 hours. Okay. So Ali, you have any questions? Ali, you have any?
Hi, sir. Hi. No, sir, is okay. Everything is perfect. You explained very well.
Yeah. Okay. I
Thank
will
you
send
very
the
much.
recording. You can listen to any number of times.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Kalyan, you have any questions?
Sir, you asked us to create 2 companies, right?
Yeah.
And the second company, do we have to give the same address and I mean like a different country and different currency or the same currency?
No, don't do like that. You create 2 companies from the same country, right? You
Okay.
create 2 company codes from the same country,
Okay.
right? You can do this activity after some classes later on. Once you get the clarity of the subject, you can do like that. But for the time being, create 2 companies with the same country, 2 company codes with the same country.
All right. Thank you.
Shailaja, do you have any questions?
No, sir. Everything is clear. So far, so good.
Yeah. Thank you. Shivakumar, any questions? Tejasvi?
Hello, sir. I have a doubt regarding assignment. Actually, you are saying that providing the links between the 2 objects in the software, but we haven't done it, right?
Sorry?
Hello, sir. I have a doubt in the assignment.
One second, Tejasvi.
Yes.
Because your voice is very low, let me use my headset.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me, Tejasvi.
Sir, I have a doubt regarding assignment. Actually, you said that you have to provide link between the 2 objects in the software.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, we'll be doing it in the next session, right?
No, we have done it now. See, company code is one object. Company code 3699 is one object. And company 3699 is another object. Okay? So for this company code, we have assigned the company. We have done it already now.
Yes, sir. Okay.
And Venkatesh, you have any questions? Okay. Okay, then see you next week, same time. Okay. Thank you. Good night and good day. Have a nice weekend.
Great week. Thank you very much.